DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Running Your DJ Business with KC and Brian.
Every time John introduces us.
Wait a second, I double-clicked. Hold on, wait, I double-clicked, so I screwed it up. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Running Your DJ Business with KC and Brian B. Now I've got it.
Sorry. Wow, that was like so smooth.
He went from like bad top 40 to like smooth jazz. You know what I mean? One day he's like, "Hey everybody, yeah, how you doing? Everybody, come on out and check me out at the car wash this weekend at Tom Todd Chevrolet." And then the second time he's like, "And now sit back for the soulful sounds of KC and Brian B."
Yeah. Oh wow. Tense. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Good, man. It's been a crazy week.
Good to have you back. Did you see the show last week?
I tried to log in for like a couple of seconds, and my signal was crap. I was DJing, so I thought that probably wasn't the best look. So
Nick Spinelli did a nice job, but he is no Brian B.
No, I like
Let's
Nick.
just put it that way. He's a good dude, but he is no Brian B.
Hey,
well. So.
And there's no KC. There's nobody out there that could fill that seat. That's for sure.
Yeah, no. They're like three people because it's so big, to be honest with you. So, but, you know, it is what it is. So we have a full show.
Yeah.
Full. So you were out last week actually working for the Knot, weren't you?
No, I was doing the birthday party project.
Oh, that's right. So how did that go?
Great. You know, so like 30 kids, and you know, it was just a cool. It's something I just love doing. So every time I go, it's always a good time. And this was my
quickly explain to everybody who may not be familiar with what the birthday party project is. And
absolutely.
You're involved.
So
maybe
it was
involved because it's national, isn't it?
It is to an extent. I mean, they all are around the country, but it's not every city right now. It's probably like I know they're in Chicago and Miami, a few big cities, and they're expanding. They just are slow growing it and not trying to do a Starbucks deal. But essentially, what it is it's a nonprofit that goes into family shelters and throws birthdays parties for these shelters once a month. And they're in the same shelters every month. And the statistic, I don't know, I might be misquoting this, but I know it's in the high 80s that a kid in a shelter never has a birthday because they can't afford it. They're in a and sometimes they're in there from
day to day. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as a DJ company, I always get approached to do, you know, nonprofit events, and I wanted to find something that I could sink my teeth into that was like in the party business of some sort. And, you know, I was doing like a lot of runs. I was doing, you know, nothing. I didn't have anybody dying of cancer. I didn't have any kind of that connection to those kinds of charities, even though I know they're great. And then I came into this and I was like, this is like doing what we really do, which is parties. And I wanted to be a part of something like that. So I reached out to them. They're based in Dallas. And so what I do for them is two things.
I'm looking at their website. Anya Winnick on it from the Knot.
Oh, is she? Okay. Yeah, I know that the Knot's involved for sure.
And so is Catherine Arce from Engage Summits in Orlando. And Rebecca Grinnell. So this is quite the ambassadors are quite the who's who.
And they get a lot of those national folks to do, like they have someone to do the invitations and the branding, and then they have a cupcake sponsor who brings in the cupcakes, or actually they make little cakes, not just cupcakes. But
I saw Nothing Bundt Cake as a sponsor as well.
Yeah, so they've got some huge contributors.
Nice.
And so my role really is twofold. Right now, actually, they have a need for DJs, believe it or not, in these cities. And it is, unpaid, it's donation, but I think it's just such a cool thing. I thought I'm not great with kids anyways, honestly. And I mean, I appreciate kids, but I'm not like the go-to, like, hey, let's play some games. But I will say that they appreciate like I've gone early a couple times and they always pat me on the back and we look forward to this every month you guys are here. So it's really cool. So my role is twofold. One, every month I program the themed birthday party, because they change the theme every month. I program their list that goes out to the national parties that go out, so that way they have it on Spotify, they can stream it, and they have that. And then once a year I do the actual DJing of the event. That's a DJ themed party. And so they've got 4 parties in New York, 4 locations in New York that are different days. And so this was my month to be on the roster and do that. So it's cool. It's a great organization, and they're doing a lot of great work. They were on the NBC Today show earlier this year. So they're really making a huge difference, and it's cool to see.
Yeah, nice. And I looked up their website. It's thebirthdaypartyproject.org.
Yeah.
So if you guys are looking to get involved, by all means, check it out. So, well, it's good to have you.
Thanks.
There's tons to talk about, folks. So I hope that we've got a nice big listening audience here.
I guess we're having some issues on YouTube, by the way. It's just a big circle.
Oh, really?
So, John, if you're with us, you might want to check that out. I'm getting some people chiming in here on the chat.
Gotcha. Well,
so I don't know if people. So
can they at least hear us?
I don't know. I don't think so.
People said I have a face for radio, so maybe that's the case. I don't know.
Well, it'll be on replay.
Yeah, that's true. So anyhow, well, if you're listening to us on YouTube, try to switch over to Facebook, and that way you can.
Is it showing there?
Yeah, I'm good. I've got it on. I've got it on there. So yeah, we're good there. Anyhow, now we got to rearrange stuff. Gene O'Neary just joined in. Ron Kronbush, Jeffrey Powell, thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate it. So we just talked about how they're not part of this, but the big news this week is that a finance company involved with Wedding Wire has agreed to make an investment of, what was it? $100 billion.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a gajillion dollars. And they are acquiring the shares from the New York Stock Exchange to take the Knot private, and then, from the sounds of it, merge it with the Knot.
Right.
So news that you can use, my friend.
It's smart on, the owner's parts, and I think the articles. They had a emailer that went out that said that they merged, which isn't accurate exactly from the standpoint of Wedding Wire and the Knot merging. Then the one said that Wedding Wire bought out the Knot. It's not that at all. The ownership group that owns the Wedding Wire brand bought the Knot brand, and they're going to operate, for the time being at least, as separate brands. But the owners own both, so they're getting both sides of the pie, because those were competing brands. So they're going to, if you read the article in depth, they are operating separately. They have separate CEOs that are running those organizations.
Right.
So I think there's been a lot of chatter out there that, things are going to change, and they're going to have this monopoly, and maybe so, but they're not going to be one as far as the way that you traditionally think of a merger or something like that. They're not going to be letting positions go or anything at this point.
Right. So it says the combined companies will be owned by Wedding Wire's investors, Permia Funds and Spectrum Equity, which will also finance the acquisition. So Tim Chai and Mike Stieb are going to stay on as the CEOs. And Allen and Company is the Knott's financial advisor, and JP Morgan Securities is advising Wedding Wire. But yeah, they're coughing up $933 million for this bad boy. So I would ask for a raise when you're an ambassador. I think you need a raise.
Well, I was going to ask you, how do you feel about that evaluation? Not to get crazy on this topic, but
you know what? I don't know what the annual sales are. So, there's all kinds of theories about the value of a business. And I've bought businesses where I've spent a lot of money. I've bought businesses where I've spent very little money. I literally bought a business once for $1 because they had so much debt that they wanted to just see the brand continue. And so
right.
It just depends on what it is. And so I've seen other people that have absorbed debt as well, and there is no actual purchase. So it just depends on the situation. I don't know,
because Wedding Wire was bought for $350 million.
Right.
That's what Premia bought them for. So clearly, for whatever reason, there was a. I mean, I will say that XO Group has more because they bought XO Group. They didn't just buy the
right,
which has
they've got
bright lights.
Gig Masters.
Yeah, Gig Masters, 2 bright lights.
Right, and they've also got the print. They've got the print editions too.
And then the Bump is the other one they have, which is like the maternity thing. So maybe all those brands combined. It was just interesting to see that the valuation between the two was so. There was such a disparity.
Yeah, but again, there's a big print component for the Knot that doesn't exist for Wedding Wire.
True. Although I don't know if it's dying, but I mean, they say print's dying, so I don't know.
I would disagree, but that's just me.
What do you think that the implications are going to be? Anything that comes to mind off the top of your head? Do you think anything major is going to change? I mean, what would DJs be worried about?
Well, let's not talk DJs. Let's talk the wedding industry. I think that people that weren't happy with one could go to the other. And now that they're kind of one in the same, at least mentally, I think that when somebody gets disgusted with one, now I think people are going to start looking outside the box and perhaps start to spend more time and perhaps more money on social media as an outlet for their marketing. So and I think it's a pretty logical thought process, not just for branding, but for actual marketing. So I know that we spend a tremendous amount of money with Facebook and Instagram combined ads for our bridal show businesses. And it just, because that's where people are. I mean, you just look at the number of people on Facebook on a day versus, let's say, the Knot and Wedding Wire combined on the day. I'm going to guess that the average engaged bride happens to be on one of those two social media platforms more so than on the Knot itself.
Right.
So I'm going to put granted, they're not doing planning per se, but I'm putting my brand in front of them.
Right.
So that's all.
Well, I heard rumblings from the DJ community that, people were crazy. Advertising dollars are going to get jacked, and maybe
they can.
They could.
It's a legitimate thing. I mean, they bought number 1 and number 2. Now, so did Men's Warehouse, and so did Joseph. Men's Warehouse bought Joseph A. Banks. They're operating as 2 separate brands. Their tuxedo division is back of house, the same company, and they use the same merchandise. But that's that. And Men's Warehouse changed a bunch of the business practices at Joseph A. Banks, so there was a lot of change there too. But they're still it's Coke and Pepsi. It's the 2 biggest brands,
right?
In bridal. So that's the way that it goes.
And pricing may go up slightly, but I think at the end of the day, like, those things always balance themselves out. Like, they clearly need the revenue to be able to operate. So if they price themselves out of the market, you could say something's worth $1 million, but if no one's going to buy it, it's like a piece of real estate, right? If you say a house you own the whole real estate, the whole complex as an example, or whatever, you could price it crazy, but it'll just sit vacant because no one can afford it. So, I think there's going to be. It's
also the law of supply and demand.
Right. Exactly.
So we'll see. So there's that, and then let's take a look in other news. There were a couple of things that we had slated for tonight.
Well, I know the next one. If you want me
What's
to hit
that?
on it, we were talking about the divorce rate. It was
Yes, that's right. That was your find actually. So.
Yeah. So basically, what the news was that it was more about divorce, but the divorce rate is less because married couples are waiting. They're waiting longer. Millennials are waiting longer to get married, and so they're finding they're not doing trial marriages anymore. And
I had one.
Yeah.
I miss my house. I miss my house a lot.
But in general, they're waiting longer, but they did say in the article something that you've been preaching over the last couple of years now of that marriages are definitely down because people are just cohabitating and they're not looking as much reverence, which goes to my whole thing of weddings. The formality is not making as big of a deal as they used to be, some of those formalities in the weddings. And I think the same thing with weddings in general, like they're just not as important to people as they may have been 20 years ago. That you have to.
I think the sacrament of marriage is different because I think a lot of people are stepping away from the church or organized religion for some justified reasons. With what's been going on in the Catholic Church, I can understand, and I also think that a lot of millennials' parents are divorced, and so the whole marital structure is just different. And I think that the church and organized religion has been coming apart for quite some time. Not to mention, you add that into the mix of digital photography, digital DJ, digital video, and just the way that things have opened up from China, that it's far less money today to go into business than it was 20 years ago. So I think across the board, from floral to photography to DJ to just about everything other than a venue, you have a lot more competition. And even in the venue space, because people want something different than crown moldings and beige walls and hotel carpeting, they're looking for a different kind of space, which is why you've got every unusual space in the world now being used for venues. So that's all.
So I guess the point with that was that if you're looking for a repeat business from clients that you've done their wedding the first time around, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of repeat clients on that way because they're not getting divorced.
Right.
So
very true. Yep. Very true.
Better get that sale.
The pie's getting cut thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Getting cut a lot thinner.
Yeah. So you saw some stuff on Facebook this week, right?
There was a bunch of stuff.
That got the case.
Not blood boiling. It just, these are talking points that I like to do. Recently a DJ that's a good friend of mine posted, and I'm a big, here's the thing. The customer is always right until the customer is wrong. Okay. And I strongly believe that. And I think too often we throw our customers under the buses prematurely. And especially as you get older, I honestly think our patience grows more weary. And a good friend of mine, turned around last Friday and essentially accused his customer from Saturday night of trying to get a sound system for the wedding ceremony for free. And I turned around and I argued back that had he done the proper bridal prep in his detail meeting, he would have found out that no, they don't have a sound system. They're getting married on the ocean, and he could have properly advised them, saying, I know you have live entertainment for your ceremony, but what are you going to do for amplification? And more than likely, this client wound up deciding that, they didn't need it. They didn't think it was important. And I don't think that's being cheap. I think that it's inexperience. And had he done the correct thing, in my opinion, which was that he would have, he should have just explained how noisy the ocean is and how this is a really good investment of $150 and go from there. I think it would have done elsewhere. But I also am getting more and more tired of DJs. They're just ripping on their clients all the time. And if you're doing that, it's clearly a problem. It's to me more you. And so, he said that they wouldn't pay $150 for a sound system, but they also chose to get uplighting and a photo booth from somebody else who I knew that person too, and they didn't even realize they're friends. They didn't even realize they were working the wedding together. And then he backpedaled afterwards and said, "Oh, it turned out the groom was a great guy and all this." Blah, blah, blah. But again, to me, it's a matter of, are you walking your clients through their wedding day,
right,
and covering things? And you got company there?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it the wife?
No. I'm in Florida this weekend, where I'm doing a wedding tomorrow in St. Augustine. My assistant just drove in, so he's like, "Where do I go?" So I said, "The other room."
Okay. Or you could just bring him on air for the first time.
I can bring him on air. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah. I'll send him the link.
It's okay. Now, it would be really funny is if we had set this up and you had like the guy dressed like a homeless man or something.
Right. No.
So I'd be like, "Here's your 6-pack. Make sure that you're ready to go in the morning."
Yeah.
No, and
I'm with you though, man. I totally am. I think we're going to be on the same page because I see that stuff. It takes everything within me not to comment because I want to say something, but I know it's just going to be, it's going to start.
Everyone defends their viewpoint, and and even we can briefly touch on politics today. In my opinion, both people today today was the Senate hearings. From my vantage point, I thought both people were very valid in the way they conducted themselves. And at the same point in time, when people shared their observations, I totally understood where people were coming from. I understood how some people didn't believe him and some people didn't believe her. And I saw both of their points. But, on social media, as you know, the only opinion that's right is yours. So and that's just the way that it goes. So that's all. Right.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, so. I think, I don't think we're going to be any different on this topic because I am with you 100% on, I think inexperience is a huge problem in the selling world. And, not.
But I don't even know if it's inexperience because this DJ's
You think it's negligence?
I think it's laziness. And I think some of it's burnout. And I think that too often, I see the same thing whenever anybody goes, "Oh, look at the floor plan they put me in last week. I was in the corner in the cornfield 65 feet from the wedding." Well, guess what?
Right.
That's on you. That's not on anybody else.
Well, to an extent. I guess you could always know that you're heading into that, but sometimes you can't always change it, right?
I agree. But in your traditional ballrooms and stuff, I think there's a much better chance of doing it in advance as opposed to...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The day of? Yeah. No, I and to that point, once I get on site for an event, at that point, I'm going to do everything I can to make that wedding awesome, no matter what it is, and
it's go time.
Yeah, you can't be like haggling over money then. We had an issue a few years ago with one of our DJs that, we had a policy that we basically, if you go overtime at an event, you have to pay cash. That's just the way our policy has always been. Get a check. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll get you a check," and they never send it, or credit card bounces or whatever, or the credit card. So anyway, we had a client who, we tell them this policy. It's in our contract. We tell them this on the planning thing, and he wants to go overtime. He's like, "I have no cash," and so our DJ was like, "Well, then I can't go overtime." And I'm like, I find out about this after the fact. I'm like, "What are you doing?" Like, the planner's pissed because now they're going back to the planner telling him, I'm like, "Hey, the DJ won't go over." I'm like, "Yes, that's our rule, but clearly, in these times, go ahead and do it. You're still gonna get paid. I'm not gonna let you just work for nothing. In those situations, they're clearly not taking advantage of you. They just forgot or whatever, But he was so staunch on, "This is my rule. This is what I do," and it was just it actually not only hurt him on the booking side with the review and then also with the planner, but it hurt us as a company because it affected all of us. And I'm like, "Dude, what are you thinking?" But
I guess you got to be careful because the question is it a rule or is it a guideline? And if he felt it was a rule, then he felt like he was towing the company line, as opposed to our guideline is this.
Right.
The bottom line though is Like,
well, and I put it on myself. I said, clearly I didn't communicate that. We hadn't talked about it. It hadn't come up in so long that it was one of those things where,
right.
it was a while. But I always say rules are meant to be broken, especially like whatever or guidelines for that matter. Whatever you have in place. Sometimes things change, especially in the private event world. I mean, those things come up all the time where, I got to adjust. Yeah, this is our policy or whatever. But, rain is another area where if something's, if it's going to rain and, our rule is that, hey, we will try 3 times to set up, because in Florida, we're always outside. And we're going to set up 3 times. If it continues to pour and we've moved it twice or 3 times, then we're staying wherever we're at, at that point. But I mean, I've had times where I've moved 5 times, I tried to work with the client. So yeah, it was definitely on me for not communicating that well enough to our guys. But at the same time,
well, it's good of you to own it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So that one was one, right? Client prep. And then you said something about vendor.
Well, and here's the other thing. Somebody posted that apparently a bride had sent them a line, a cut and pasted line in the copy that said that, hi, this is in my videographer's contract. And it essentially said, DJ agrees to give videographer clean line out.
Wow.
And the thing about it was, in my mind, even though I own a video company, anybody gets the line out. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, but I'm just surprised. Like, I would never put in the contract, like, the photographer will allow me to bring in my own photographer to take pictures. Like, how can I project it on somebody else? For promotional use. I could never say that. In fact, photographers have in their contracts a lot of cases that they have to only use them as the photographer at the event.
And we are. But I understand that though, because of the fact that you don't want anybody over the photographer's shoulder or getting in their way.
Right.
But here's the thing. A bride can't sign a contract saying that we'll agree to do something for the video guy. Like, she has no authority to say anything.
Yeah. What if the guy doesn't know? I mean, what if I didn't have the equipment for a line out? You always do, but what if you didn't? Then what do you?
Again, I know one DJ, he's paranoid, and I think it had nothing to do with it. He had a mixer short out, and he blamed it on the video guy's feed out, but it spooked him enough that he's just like, I don't give anybody a line out, period, end of story. And that's his, in my opinion, his foolishness, but in his mind, he's right. And I'm not going to say that he's right or he's wrong or whatever it is, but in his head, he's justified, and that's just the way that it is. But
remember this, if you play nice with others, you're going to get referred more often. People are going to want to use you more often because they know that you're somebody that they like to work with. The more staunch you are in your stance and, hey, this is how I do things and it's the way it is, I just feel like you're painting yourself in a corner there, and the chances of you, getting referred from certain vendors that are upset with you or don't like to work with you. I mean, it's just you're not gonna get as much business that way. So I'm always looking for referral sources. So for me, whatever anybody needs as far as line outs or whatever, I mean, I'm there to help. So.
Right. No, I totally agree. But the only thing I wish is if it's important enough for the video guy to put in his contract, it should be important enough that he has a form email that he asks the bride and groom.
Agreed.
For the DJ's email address. And my big issue with that is just the level of expectation. So
right.
So that's totally. All. So
do you? Where are some other examples where vendors have, beyond the videographer, have you had anything else where maybe we could help DJs out there tonight that they should be prepared for, like in any other situation?
Well, I think part of it too is, and I think it's a give and take. I own a photography studio, and as you know, photography has shifted where everybody used to start at the church or very briefly at the bride's house, then they'd run to the church, then they'd run to the reception. And the photographer would generally be there until like bouquet and garter toss was done halfway through the night or what have you, or traditions were done throughout the night. Well, now there's such an emphasis on bridal prep that we're sometimes at the bride's house at 12:30 in the afternoon. And so even though, listen, just like your DJ, every hour that I sell a photographer or video guy longer than our package, I make money on it. So of course I want to sell it. But if the bride says no, period, end of story, I think we have DJs have to try as be accommodating as possible to get certain traditions that need to be photographed or need to be videotaped in the beginning of the evening. That's just the way that it is. And we may not like it, and it may not fit into our formula per se, but I think that we need to, if we're going to be a team player and a big team player, we need to, we need to be accommodating. At the same point in time, I think photographers should be far more accommodating with us and snap some pictures with us and then actually email us when those galleries go online so that we can get those images ourselves.
Right. Well, it goes back to what I just said about like them referring us. I mean, I'm going to refer the photographers that seem to always like take care of me. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
I'll definitely, do that. One of the ones that I actually have an event, my wedding tomorrow, they are wanting to do, and this is one of those ones I hate actually. The photographer wants to do the sparkler exit before it gets too dark. And those always suck the energy out of the party when they want to do it in the middle of the night. And we now get to take everybody, literally every person out of the room to the front of the hall to do this grand exit. And then you bring them back and it's just like the mojo's lost. You got to rebuild it. It's always a struggle. So, I always have a couple of ideas to try to make that a little bit more efficient. And instead of waiting until like, let's say 30 minutes left in the party, like let's do it like during the cake cut early on or like right after dinner so that they haven't really partied yet, and it's still, will look great, but I'm not waiting the last 30 minutes to do the last 30 minutes.
Sure.
But, it's just work. But, I called the photographer when he told the bride he wanted to do this early on. I called the photographer and said, hey, listen, do you mind? It would help me with the programming if we can move it even earlier than what you're suggesting, just because that way I haven't really danced them yet, and I don't have to worry about trying to bring them all back after they've had a lot to drink. And he was so glad that I called, and gave him a solution. It wasn't like, hey, go figure it out, buddy, or it's my way or the highway. We worked together on it,
I agree.
So, I don't know.
That's the hard part, though, too, about the saturation point in our market is, unfortunately, we don't work with a lot of the same people over and over again because there are just so many photographers and so many DJs. I mean, some of the banquet halls I used to work at regularly, when I talk to them, I'm like, yeah, you guys don't love us anymore. And like some of the banquet managers go, dude, I don't see the same DJs twice in a year anymore. And I'm like, seriously? And they're like, never. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So
I tend to work with
Chicago's but Chicago's a big city too. So that might have something to do with it. So
is it because though that you are working a lot of different halls too, or is it the same hall?
Yeah. No, there were times, man, I'd be able to leave my gear set up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that would be it. Mission Hills Country Club, man, I owned that place in the 90s and 2000s. Holy cow. There was nothing better. And it'd be funny because I remember getting older and like not wanting to schlep turntables and stuff. And then as we were trying to figure out what gear to put where, I'd be like, all right, I'll take the heavy turntables and I'll take the heavy amps because I'm going to leave the stuff there Friday night and Saturday night. So
you were set up in the same place every both weddings? Every time?
Yeah, it would be great. It was awesome.
Turn and burn. That's awesome.
Yeah. There was also a place called Chateau Rand that had 4 rooms in it. And I remember one night we had 3 out of the 4 rooms, and there was an older DJ that was one of the pioneers in the Chicagoland area. I went to go check on my guys because I had done an afternoon party. I was off that night. And I went to go see what rooms everyone was in. And the DJ booth was literally right through the door of this place. And he's like, hey, Case. And I said hello to Paul. And then he proceeds to go, yeah, this used to be a nice business to be in. I'm like, what do you mean it used to be? He's like, but guys like you guys don't even leave a crumb anymore. And I'm like, a crumb? And he's like, yeah. He goes, you guys just, you guys like you have eaten everything up. And I'm like, I'm sorry that I work hard. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I hear that kind of stuff. It's like you guys, you have the same opportunity as everybody else. If you want to take it, you can. If you want to be boutique and do 1 or 2, fine. But But
these were also. This was back in the day. Like this guy was the Yellow Page King of Chicago. So he just wanted to wait for the phone to ring and went.
Yeah, that doesn't work these days. That's for
Yep.
sure.
No, and this was years ago. I mean, this was a million years ago. The venue's not even there anymore. So, but it's a tough one.
Right. Right.
So,
Interesting. What about what about any other like vendor tips that you have that you're thinking that for vendor prep or that you can think of, or vendor cooperation?
yeah, I'll tell you a couple of things. Like, I would rather, after the formalities are done, like introductions are done and it's time for everyone to be seated, that's to me when you announce the photo booth is going to be open until from 9 until 11. Because when it's open, I don't announce it. I don't announce a suite table though either. And the reason for it is the most annoying thing in the world to me and to many others is waiting in line. So when the DJ makes an announcement that like the suite table's open, the late night snacks open, the photo booth's open, people stop enjoying themselves and they feel this odd obligation to like get up and get in line.
Right.
And so I'd much rather
dance
say,
floor and kills your
totally
party.
Well, and it's not even about the dance floor. Like, let's just pretend that I've got a nice family that's not dancing, that they're just having a good time. They're visiting with grandma. Like, again, that's going to stop because all of a sudden everyone's running to the sweet table or the pizza or the like.
Right.
I hate that, and I respectfully find out that stuff in advance, and they'll say, "Okay, folks, like at the minute that dinner is, like you're officially seated for dinner." And then that's when I'll say, "Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your meals. Just to let you know, tonight in the back left corner from 8 until 11, the bride and groom have a photo booth. So make sure throughout the course of enjoying the day, you head over there. It'll be open between 8 and 11. The announcement's been made to a much more attentive audience,
right?
Because they're not torn in a million directions,
right?
And that's it. And so I'm still cooperating, but I'm cooperating on my terms so that people don't stop doing what they're doing, you know. And I've always thought it was weird because, like, you never have to announce the bar's opening. You never have to tell people where the bathrooms are, you know.
Right.
But, the banquet hall always goes, "Can you tell them?" No. Why? Because it's a stupid announcement to make.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to stop enjoying themselves just because.
That's the same to me as like table dismissals if they have a buffet. I hate calling out tables, so I will never do it on the mic.
My solution for that is, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you to your maitre d' tonight. His name is Brian Bonacisi, and he's the best. Enjoy your time together. And when Brian comes over to your table to invite you to come up and eat, please do so. But until then, just relax, because nobody likes to stand in line anyway, do they? No, of course not. So enjoy your meal, enjoy the company. Brian will be around to invite you when the buffet is ready.
That's a nice way of putting it. I like that. I don't even go to that level. I just say be around to dismiss table shortly, and enjoy the food and enjoy the conversation. We'll be around to dismiss table shortly, and I literally go up to these tables one by one, or I have an assistant that does it.
And I don't want to do that, and I'd rather put it on the banquet hall because the banquet hall knows if they're running out of a starch, a vegetable, an entree, and so they know how to pace things, and I'd rather do it that way.
I think it's a regional thing because we don't really have maitre d's in the New York market.
But someone's got to be in charge of the room, right?
They do, but honestly, like they're there. They have most of the ones I work, the coordinators there dismissing these tables. It's like really rare that there was a maitre d' because these are like mainly destination ones, so they don't really have like a hall. They have a caterer who's in charge, but she's like in the back, or he's in the back, kind of like worrying about the food.
So there's no face of the company.
Right. So it's usually the coordinator, or it ends up being me sometimes if it's a small destination place. But I don't mind. I don't mind going up there and telling them. I mean, clearly I'm going to make sure. I like it because I can gauge the line and make sure people aren't waiting too long, and I kind of like pace it out rather than sending 10 tables all at once or whatever. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Where you said sitting there. But that's a good one. I like your verbiage and the way you.
But here's the thing, and I just did a Monday night. I did a smooth transitions or something for the private DJNTV group, and it was nothing but those types of situations and talking about how to make announcement, like go from announcing to being an MC. And I think that the biggest thing is that you need to focus on what the end result is. And in this case, you don't want everybody getting up. And naturally, everyone's going to go, well, when's it our turn? When's it our turn? When's it our turn? Well, here's the deal. Enjoy your time together, folks. Enjoy the conversation. And we will indeed come around and let you know when it's time. So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Right.
And to me, this is where Randy Bartlett and I differ a little bit. Randy Bartlett likes to end everything with a crescendo. Like, and now for Brian and Tara's wedding day. And I get it. And it's his style. And there's that. But when I did his 1% solution, I'd say my ending would always be when dinner's served. So please kick back, relax, and enjoy. And that's it's designed to lower things. And then background music kicks in and we're good to go. But, he's like, well, how could you have done that better? And I'm like, I didn't think I needed to. I thought we were just fine.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we've got some comments here.
Yeah.
And,
are you on YouTube or on Facebook?
I'm on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Facebook's pretty quiet tonight.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Sean jumped on. Yeah, it's quiet. Crickets.
Day and Night DJ says, I also tell the last tables they may want to go to the bar. It's going to be a while. And he also says it's also a good time to interact with guests, which is a kind of a nice little topic, DJ topic that kind of came up this week with the interaction. Do you still do a lot of interaction with guests during dinner? Are you doing some games? Are you doing
none of it?
Trivia? No, just playing good music.
You know what? I play good music. And I just kind of chill and let people enjoy themselves because, I think a lot of DJs forget that it's not all about the performance. It's about the enjoyment of the evening. And so the best thing you can do at times is just shut your mouth. Play great background music. You don't have to be the center of attention all the time. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Shulywed game, but if a client wants it and they request it, then I'll do it. Right. So, and I just did it like, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. And the bride wanted it, but she never got back to me with the specific question she wanted. So I generically went on my phone, pulled it up, and I used it off of there. And I yanked one out of my butt right away, and it worked. People dug it. So they totally dug it. So again, I'm not that guy that's like turned my nose up at it the way like Joe Bunn says, like, no, I don't dance. Or Nick's like, I really, that's not our thing. And I get it. Everyone's got their brand. Yeah. But I think some of that is posturing because somebody asks you for Metallica and it's the groom, you're going to play it, even though it might be more of a club thing. Like, that's just the way that it is. You're not going to go, no, I'm DJ Brian B. Like, I don't do that. Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, whatever it calls for, I'll do. I mean, I will say I don't tend to get those kind of clients that ask for that kind of stuff, but that's not to say I'm above it. I mean, I would definitely, if last year it was really interesting. I had 4 parties, which was a lot for me. That like if I didn't have that interaction stuff in the bag, that party would have been sucked. And trust me, I kind of debated actually doing it because I was like, gosh, am I advertising now to future couples who are at this event that this is what I'm like? I mean, clearly I was doing it because the party demanded it, but I don't really want the rest of these kind of clients, personally. I would rather have ones that don't ask for it. So it was like a kind of a check me moment of like, no, I have to throw that to the side. I have to do what's right for this party. And if this is what's going to be right for this party, then I got to do it. You know what I mean? I agree. So, and Mike brought up there's certain ethnicities that want that. And so there's no question if you're doing a black wedding, the wobble is going to be a huge hit. Yeah. And like you said, although we call them Philippines when they're Filipinos. Philippines is the islands. Okay. Like, wow, he's got the islands there. Yeah. No, but it's the Filipino family. Right. To the author of the new book. Yeah, it's just one of those things where, they love it. I mean, they live for it. They totally want it. And they're the ones that you really see doing the goofy, fun bridal party dances. Like they will do the full choreography and that. And even that, if anything's going away, in my opinion, I think that the creating a video moment to trend has been done to death. I don't see as many brides doing the silly dances with their dads. I don't see the crazy introductions like I used to. And I think that's just a minute that came and went. So.
Well, it's like, I think now with the Instagram, they call it the 15-second attention span. Like, even songs, you're only listening to it for a certain hook. The same thing is going to be is said about these.
I think you spend too much time on Instagram.
I probably do.
You are obsessed with Instagram. There's a whole world out there, man.
Yeah.
See it, enjoy it.
But my point is like with the songs, even a song, they're only looking for that one lyric or that one line or that one chorus or whatever, and then it's over.
But do you think that's new? I mean, that's always been the way that it is.
I don't know. I'd say it's the attention span's getting shorter and shorter. I mean, like a good song, like as an example by Usher. I mean, people listen to the whole song generally. But one of Drake's latest songs, when was that play the other night? I can't remember. God's Plan. There is one line, and that's the only line that matters. Once we get out of that hook, it's gone. And so I think there's been a shift in that music.
But again, I think that's that way a lot of times. Like going all the way back to the Humpty Dance. Does anybody know the actual lyrics to verse? To the second verse? No. That's where everyone's like.
But another good example would be Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Right. Everybody knows that jingle all from top to bottom, and they want to hear the whole song, right?
Right. Same thing with Rapper's Delight. Everyone's like, God, this is a really long song.
Right. So, but I guess I'm just trying to say that the music that's coming out now, they're not listening to the whole song. They're listening to just the lines.
It also sucks.
Okay. Get off my lawn.
It's just so slow. It's like, okay, no, it's not, because you know what? You were around in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I loved all that stuff, but I like
except for one thing. But no, some of the dance music was great, but you survived Nirvana and Pearl Jam, and being a DJ then sucked.
Well, like a lot of hip hop out then too, though.
Some of it, but you also had to deal with the Spice Girls.
Tupac, all of them were out then.
But they didn't have mainstream appeal. You were Mr. LA guy. Those weren't being played on a CRX format.
Yeah, they were on Kiss FM.
No, they weren't on Kiss FM.
Yeah.
I worked for Kiss FM here in Chicago at that exact time. They were not on Kiss FM.
Well, not like
Spice Girls and Genie in a Bottle. I met Christina Aguilera. She was like 16 years old.
Yeah, but like I'm talking like Too Close, Next. What else?
I don't know.
112. All those were on Kiss. Those were in the rhythmic section of it for sure. Like
the rhythmics, the late night.
I don't know. Anyway,
white people go to bed early, so the black people all tuned in.
That we just lost a whole.
Clearly. There goes our one token black guy. Hey, but we haven't dropped the F-bomb like others on the station did today.
No, but what I was getting at before we started on this rabbit trail of music is that same thing with those traditions of that you were saying about the crazy grand entrances and viral dances. Those things, there will be things like that will come and go quicker and quicker, because those things are just the fads don't last as long as they do. You know what I mean?
But and I agree with you, attention span, because I think the last long running movie that was out was Titanic. After that, I'll hear about a Dwayne Johnson movie who's the biggest rock star in the world a movie star in the world right now. And he'll be like, yeah, I'm good this Friday. And then literally 2.5 weeks later, it's out of the theaters already. Right. And it was like this big box office smash for 2.5 weeks. Whereas back in the day, you'd see a Rocky movie or a Star Wars movie, or like I said, I think Titanic was the last one that was really long. And after that, it was like you didn't see squat.
Dancing with Wolves was always a long one. I don't know. Did you ever see that one? God, I think it was like 3 hours long.
I don't think I ever saw that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think you could. You want to shoot yourself.
I've never seen Titanic all the way through either.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen Moulin Rouge all the way through.
You're
there's
good.
A bunch of them.
You didn't miss
Roadhouse, however. Roadhouse. I could get off the air right now and turn that bad boy on.
Yeah.
So guilty pleasure movie for sure.
Right. Well, cool, man. What do you got going on this weekend? You got some events going on this weekend? What's
let's see. I'm actually off on Sunday. I actually have to do a recording session with a bride doing a message to her dad on Sunday, and then we have I'm delivering floral actually all weekend. So that's about it.
Do you have DJs working for you that are working?
Yeah, the guys are out, but I'm not. And again, part of it's I'm not trying to be booked. I want to book. I want to do 10.
The right events,
and not even the right events. To be honest with you, if somebody likes me and they still want to have me, bald head and gray beard,
I'm down. That's the right event, though, right? When they want you.
Yeah, and it's funny because a lot of people tell me that they, they're just comfortable with me. A lot of people assume that I'm just not available anymore. That I don't DJ.
Right.
And part of it's because I think a lot of them know that I own multiple businesses, and we're actually scheduled to close on yet another one. So Daryl, who you may have met before, who worked for me, he and I have purchased a cart catering business located here in Chicago. And so we're going to be doing the late night snacks with the true classic loved American hot dog, which is the Vienna beef Chicago style hot dog. So we'll have the stainless steel hot dog carts with the big umbrella, and then we've got some ice cream carts and popcorn and cotton candy and things along those lines. And Daryl's got a history in that, and I've obviously got a great platform with our special event divisions as well. So we're going to be doing that, and so we're supposed to close on that actually October 1st.
Nice.
And we're keeping the commissary right where it is. So this is a turnkey situation. Tragically, the gentleman that owned it passed, and we're buying it from his widow and his family.
Yeah. Well, at least you're keeping up in the legacy.
Yeah. So and we'll update a few different brands and things like that. But we're excited to be part of the Buddy's family now. So that's what it is. Buddy's Special Events.
Speaking of that, I had heard that Waffle House, of all places, is offering a mobile truck now you can rent.
I would hire them to come to Chicago.
It's $1,000.
We don't have them here.
It's $1,000.
So worth it.
Plus the whatever food you get. But I thought
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's the greatest. I think the food truck is actually bigger than that place, isn't it?
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, it can be. Certain ones for sure. And cleaner, probably too.
Yeah, it's true as well.
But I read that. Yeah, well, that's cool, man. So you got some busyness stuff going on this weekend. That's good.
I'm busy every weekend, man. I really am busy every single weekend. So, and it's funny because I enjoy working here at the office on Sundays by myself the most.
Right.
Because it's the one day that I can really get stuff done.
Right.
I clear my desk and I can just be creative. And even I try to get in now like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning here, because I'm good until about 9:30, 10 o'clock. And that's when everybody starts piling in, the phone starts ringing. And it's the only way that I can do anything anymore. After that, I'm just putting out fires or dealing with stupid stuff. I spent 2 hours yesterday at the Microsoft store trying to figure stuff out. I had my unzipping file wasn't unzipping and defaulted some program called WinZip, and I've got emails disappearing, and once again GoDaddy blamed Microsoft blamed GoDaddy. So I took my laptop into the Microsoft store. We got on the phone with GoDaddy, and it was actually kind of fun. I just watched them over my speakerphone. All they did was yell at each other. It was actually kind of cool.
You got them both on the phone at the same time. That's
well,
great.
I was in the Microsoft store in their tech department, which I believe Microsoft has the worst phone support in the world.
Yeah.
But my experience in the Schaumburg store, props to them. At the Woodfield store, if you're from Chicago, unbelievably nice. I've been there like 2 or 3 times now. Really super people that have helped me dial what's wrong with my stuff up without a problem. So
nice.
So that's all. But yeah, so lots of stuff going on, man. Just,
awesome.
always busy. So
fall is here.
It is. So we'll have a busy October, and then November we'll be starving ourselves for Thanksgiving. And that's that. So,
Nice.
and I'm super pumped. Do you know Tony at Serato, the national sales manager?
I don't know him personally. No, I know of
Awesome,
Serato.
awesome guy. Updating on my auction is that they donated, I think it's 3 full Serato suites, like the full kapow, and then he was trying to get me some very cool limited edition pressed vinyl from some different artists that he's connected with. So he told me he can't guarantee me what it is, but he told me that my package shipped. So a big props to Serato for once again donating to our auction. And then when that auction goes online next month, what's going to be great is all the money is going toward kids in need. So very much like your birthday project.
Yeah.
Toys and hats and gloves and everything that kids need. So
that's amazing, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So if you're in the DJ industry and you're hearing this, I need you to bid. And if you're a supplier, I would absolutely love it if you consider donating something. I've got stuff from Electro Voice, Blizzard, Disc Jockey News, DJ Times, even Midwest DJs Live, so that they would be donating something. We've got stuff from Vibo, your friends over there. We've got stuff from all kinds of people. So
Mobile Beat, probably.
No, they've not returned my emails. I don't know what the problem is.
Yeah, that's weird.
I've asked, so. Yeah. But you know what? In all seriousness, if DJ Times is cool about donating Midwest DJs Live, like, listen, it's all about kids. So clearly, Mobile Beat doesn't like kids. They don't care about kids. They don't care about kids in need. You heard it here.
Oh man,
Melvin and Ryan Berger don't care about kids.
God. I just opened Pandora's box very slightly. I cracked it, and then you just like ripped it up.
You opened the door. I kicked it the rest of the way in.
Right.
So yeah. So it's not me, folks. It's Brian Bonacici said that Mobile Beat doesn't care about kids.
I was wanting to see what they were donating. I figured they were being right.
I would be more than happy to accept their donation, and I would be extremely gracious, and I would promote the crap out of them and their show and such. Yeah. On this very network.
Yeah, absolutely.
John has been nice enough to donate all kinds of stuff. I think John's actually donating some Mobile Beat t-shirts from the 90s. Are you with us, John?
Yes, I am.
He is.
I'm just putting together the I'm sorry emails right now.
I understand. When they pull out, it's good. So they also don't have a sense of humor apparently either. I didn't start it, John.
I was listening. I was listening again. He cracked it a little bit, and you kicked it right on. Anyway,
It was like last week when I was talking to Nick Spinelli about speaking. So
good stuff. Good stuff. Mm-hmm. Well, next week will be one of my last shows for the month because I'm going to be busy. So,
what are we going to talk about? Let's do a teaser. What are we talking about? It's going to be big.
Yeah. Well,
remember that thing we said would be huge? Huge.
I actually was thinking because I had some thoughts after listening to some other shows this week about the interaction and all that kind of stuff. I think maybe that might be a good little talk potentially, because I think there's a lot of other viewpoints out there than just the ones that have been expressed so far. And we were kind of talking at pre-show, and I think we have enough material between the two of us that would, at least that could be part of the conversation for sure. I think we have such different viewpoints on it.
Here's the problem, though. See, I'm so used to Mike and Joe copying our show and getting our guests on and rehashing it. I heard they're going to be talking about DJ Tools 21 next week. That's how far behind the two of them are. So it could be a Brian thing, No,
I mean, I don't care. Whatever. I'm just throwing out some ideas. Maybe we should ask our viewers to chime in here on the chat and give us some ideas.
That would be great.
That'd be awesome. That'd be huge.
We can talk about if bathroom selfies are actually bringing Jody Harris business. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Are you Are you marketing a lot to holiday parties yet? Are you getting any kind of inquiries on that?
I've actually done phone calls and emails to everybody we worked with last year and even the year before and the year before that, trying to track down anything or anything. And that's been pretty quiet.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but it's been pretty quiet. I got to tell you.
It's weird because usually
Christmas.
Yeah, it's odd because usually when the economy's good, our parties go up. It's not happening for us either.
Well, really maybe in all seriousness, maybe some companies are waiting to see what the midterm elections are going to be like beginning in November, and just to not panic. Yeah, maybe people have got all their money in Nike stock and they're scared to who's going to do what. I mean, all this craziness. So
there you go.
Mobile Beat will throw a huge party at wedding and never mind. What was I thinking? So
these I'm sorry emails are going to be
exactly.
I think I hear John's phone already ringing in the background.
Hi, John. Yeah, I'm calling from Iowa. Why is Casey making fun of us?
So anyway, thanks for watching tonight.
Yeah.
So, folks, in closing, this is my final show here. No.
Actually, someone said, hey, can you have Joe Bunn and Mike Walter on your guys' show? Maybe that would be a good one.
You know what? I threw it out there, and I think we had talked about them coming on, like doing something quarterly.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is Brian and I would just carry the whole show, and Mike would talk about I don't know what, and Joe would go, "Hey y'all, I got another photo shoot. I'm going to do another video thing. Instead of having a hawk, I'm going to have an elephant in this one, y'all. You hear me, y'all? We're going to cut up a dump truck this time. It's going to be fresh. It's going to be lit." And Mike's going to go, "Hey, I think I'm going to write a book about it."
Okay. Is there anyone else we can offend tonight? Are we?
Let's see. Let me think now. Yeah. Don't get me started. No.
All right, guys. Well,
I always said, like, the day that I'm totally done in the DJ industry will be the day, like, somebody at a wedding tells me, "Are you going to play something good?" And I'm going to pull out my carrying concealer and I'm just going to play the Macarena for like an hour straight.
Loop it.
That's it. I think this is good. You can thank that asshole in the corner. And I just used it. I just used profanity.
You did. You were doing so well.
I was. I think this was like
must be the day for
it. We're on borrowed time.
Yeah. All right. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. It's time to go.
Why is it that the ratings went up in the last 5 minutes? Casey's on a tear. He's out of control.
Good stuff.
All right, guys. So
thanks for tuning in.
We don't know what we're talking about. Maybe we'll talk about interaction. Maybe we won't.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll see. But tune in because we need the ratings.
There you go.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.